In this self-discovery series, we will be talking about the secret of silence today. I asked it in the last episode, why do we exist? And the answers came like a storm. The Sufis whispered of the divine. Hajgar spoke of being thrown from fear the weight of freedom, and machines declared us data. But storms always leave behind one thing: silence. Silence is strange. It terrifies some, heals others, and yet, if you listen closely, it is the only thing that never lies. Philosophy says silence is the space where thought begins. Psychology calls it the womb of creativity. Religion tells us prophets often disappeared into caves, deserts, and mountains, seeking nothing but silence. The problem is this: we live in an age where noise has become a drug. Notifications are the new drums of war, and without sound, people feel panic. Yet silence, emptiness itself, has carried civilizations. The Tao says the usefulness of a jar lies in its empty space. And the Holy Quran reminds us, remember your Lord within yourself, in humility and in fear, without loudness of speech. Think of mythology. When Zeus thundered, men trembled. But when the oracle of Delphi was silent, kings were more afraid. For silence forces you to speak with yourself, and that is the most dangerous dialogue of all. Semantic teaches us that every word has meaning only because there is a space around it. Logos, the reason of existence, breathes not in speech but in pauses. A sentence without silence is chaos. A life without silence is confusion. So why do we exist? Perhaps the answer hides not in more words, but in fewer. The mystics believed existence itself is a well, and silence the thread that can tear it apart. If noise is the mask of life, silence is its naked truth. Look around in contemporary reality. We post everything, but the greatest revolutions begin in secret. Gandhi's silence in prison, Mandela's silence in Robben Island. Silence births meaning, the way darkness gives birth to stars. So the problem is, noise makes us visible to the world. Silence makes us visible to ourselves. But silence does not mean absence. It's not empty like a jar with nothing inside. It is full, fuller than any word you can speak. In silence, the Sufis heard God. In silence, the Buddha found enlightenment under a tree. And in silence, modern psychologists discovered that mind finally untangles its own knots. Have you ever noticed every great myth has a moment of stillness? Moses stood silent before the burning bush. Arjun paused on the battlefield before Krishna spoke. Even in Greek myths, the gods whispered more truth in silence than in thunder. Yet, despite all this, in our age, silence has become the rarest commodity. The scrolling, the posting, and everything that we do continues. We drown in noise. We fear silence because it confronts us with ourselves. But if you dare to sit with it, even for a moment, silence will whisper back the answer to the question we begin with: why do we exist? Scientists say silence is not empty, it changes the brain. At Duke University, researchers found that just 2 hours of silence a day help new brain cells grow in the part that controls memory and learning. That means silence doesn't just calm you, it literally makes you smarter. In Finland, where schools are ranked among the best, teachers use silence in class. After asking a question, they wait quietly. That pause feels strange, but it forces students to think deeply instead of giving fast answers. Silence becomes a teacher. At Harvard, Business researchers discovered that leaders who spend 15 minutes in quiet reflection every day make better decisions. Silence works like a filter. It removes the noise and leaves the truth. In psychology, Carl Rogers, one of the most respected therapists, taught that sometimes the best help is to stay quiet. Silence gives a space for people to find their own answers. Even in Japan, silence is a respected part of culture. In meetings, people often sit in quiet before speaking. Westerners may rush to fill that gap, but in Japan, silence shows respect and clarity. Think about experiments on everyday people. At the University of Virginia, participants were asked to sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Many chose to give themselves a small electric shock rather than stay in silence. Imagine, people preferred pain over stillness. That shows how afraid we have become of silence. Yet silence gives back more than what we fear. It lowers the stress in the body. It helps us focus and study better. It makes relationships stronger because real listening begins in quiet. So, what lesson do we take? Noise keeps us running but never arriving. Silence makes us slow down and go deeper. Noise makes us look smart. Silence makes us truly wise. And the real secret is, life does not need to be shouted. It only needs to be heard.